Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we want to take a look at the war in between of Tribe Gaming and a clan with a 25 win streak, which means they at least worked for this win streak straight 50 days, which is a lot. So we will take a look at a couple of the attacks over there and we will figure out in the end who won this war and who keeps pushing their win streak or not. But let's see. I have a lot of different attacks for you guys. I have dragons. I have a mass hawk rider attack. I have Lalo. I have Yetis without beds, with everything. Just guys, relax and enjoy the nice attacks. The first one is going to be from Hooked, and this one is going to be a Sui Lalo, like an Electron Lalo. And a lot of people say like Lalo's dead or like the army is not really worth it anymore, stuff like that. But I think exactly this attitude makes this attack strong again, because no one would expect Electron Lalo on this base, so no one defended that. This makes it kind of usable again, I would say. It's still pretty strong, but at the same time, it's pretty hard to execute. You have to say that the army is not too easy to execute. So let's take a look at what exactly Hooked is doing. First off, he cleared up a couple of outside buildings and the air defense and made room for a couple of Cocoloons, which soaked up so many black mines that this blimp can actually reach the core and reach the enemy queen. And since this guy did not put his queen next to the warden, this means the Electro Dragon can easily one-shot the queen, and this means the queen is dead. And there's a nice pathing now. Even though I have to admit, not that much as what I've expected. I guess I would have expected that the scatter shot, for example, would be down as well. From now on, he has obviously a lot of hounds and a lot of power, but only 4 small spells left, which means 2 freezes and 2 hastes, which isn't too much, to be honest. So let's see how exactly he's doing. The sweeper is being a little bit annoying for him, but let's take a deeper look at the percentage, because that's the important point where his loons can actually target the town hall. So the sweeper is getting sniped, now a freeze on the town hall because it's perfectly timed with the percentage, and this means a haste just to make sure that everything is getting into the town hall and away from the freeze, like of the freeze effect of the town hall a bit faster. And this means a nice loon split in the end, 1 more freeze for the scatter shot and the wizard tower, and this means this base is getting completely wrecked. Nicely done with the attack, and there's just a huge wall of loons getting into the last couple of defenses. The tornado trap, I don't actually know why the tornado trap was over there, but either way, this was a beautiful attack, and this means this is going to be the first triple for Tribe Gaming, getting a little bit closer to denying the 26th win of our opponent clan. So let's take a look at the next attack, and let's see which strategy this is going to be. Like I said, this will be a lot of different strategies. This will be a lot of different attack types on different bases, and the next one is going to be a Warden Walk Yeti Smash, kind of the special ability of ENG, who's doing crazy well with this strategy at the moment, and he's using 2 jump spells, no wall breakers whatsoever. And the goal for this Warden Walk is going to be the second layer air defense. A lot of guys are already asking, like, iTzu, why and when do you use the Warden Walk and when the Queen Walk? So you use the Warden Walk in 2 different scenarios. The first one is when you have basically a lot of time to clear some trash out, and at the same time you do need to funnel a lot if you would use the Queen. For example, on this corner, you couldn't really say without having to invest a little bit of funnel where the Queen is going. The next thing obviously is, as soon as there's something in the second layer which only the Warden can reach, it's kind of obvious when to use the Warden and when only the Queen. But the funnel part is one of the most important things, because for example for this Warden, he didn't need anything to funnel except like the bowler, which I highlighted a couple of times. But this bowler, I mean, this would have been used probably with the Queen Walk as well. So the Warden Walk, as long as you're not running into too many time issues, it's just crazy strong, and you should always consider using the Warden. The next thing, which is a bit unlucky for him, the Queen is luring all of the troops into the core of this base, which isn't a bad thing, but in this scenario it means that nothing is going for the town hall. This means he has to use the royal champion to get with the town hall, even though she was planned most likely for something else. Meanwhile, we have the P.E.K.K.A. and everything on the right side, the wizards doing their job, and now they're getting a little bit support of the Hawk Riders, which were in the clan castle. And now the Yetis and everything is getting into the back end of this base, taking out the first multi-inferno tower. And this base actually had a lot of multi-inferno towers, which is always good for the back end, especially if you have the Royal Champion left alive. One of the worst feelings in the game is right now if you have a single Inferno Tower locking on your Royal Champion and you know she will be dead in a second and you can't do anything about it if you do not have a freeze. This is a kind of not too nice feeling. So yeah, this attack will take some time still, because take a look at this freaking builder hut at the right side. You might think, okay, there are a couple of wizards coming to rescue the day. But not today, because there's still another giant bomb to get rid of all of the wizards, which means all of the troops from the left have to walk to the right. And now you think, okay, the warden is doing that. He's like athletic, he's jumping over walls and everything. Nope, rip, denied. This means the queen has to do to finish up the job by her own. And this means this is going to be another triple. Nicely done. And nicely rescued in the end with the Royal Champ for the Town Hall. Let's take a look at the next attack, and this is going to be actually a mass hot rider attack, which are kind of not that common, to be honest, right now, because they're kind of, I don't know how to say that, but it's really base dependent on how they're working. So let's take a look at this base. It's at a really exposed Town Hall, which you normally can kind of easily sui with your queen, and obviously a nice funnel, which he's doing perfectly right now. And then the next thing for mass Hawk Riders, which are kind of scary, is that you have 3 freaking heroes. Like 3 heroes against your Hawk Riders. Like, this is really scary. So what is he doing? He's starting off with his Slammer instead of the Blimp, because like he can target that better. Using the Rage kind of early on, because he wants, you cannot Rage the Slammer, but he wants to Rage the troops which are inside. I think he could have waited a little bit longer and maybe deployed the Rage a little bit better. But yeah, either way, now the Yetis are coming out and getting rid of the Tesla farm over there. Meanwhile, the clan castle was lured. Meanwhile, the queen was dropped at the bottom. I think a lot of things right now at the same time are going on. So really hard for me to highlight everything. But now the queen is luring over the clan castle. Nicely timed poison, which means the queen will finish up the town before the the ice golems will get over there. And now take a look at this really nice deployment. There are a lot of different Hawk Rider groups, which is kind of the thing which you have to do if you want to do Hawk Riders. One thing which I'm doing kind of often and which is totally wrong is I'm just spamming everything in, like getting a lot of fingers on the tablet and just getting the line of Hawk Riders down, which isn't the thing how you should deploy Hawk Riders. So he's doing it perfectly with a lot of different groups coming from different angles, like those 2 supporting groups and then the 2 main groups at the beginning. Perfectly timed from him, and now all of the heal spells for the back end. Still has the Royal Champ ability, and this base is smashed. It's doomed, it's done, it's tripled, it's whatever. Nicely done with the attack, Lord Kirk, and this means this is going to be another triple for us on our road to deny the next win on the win streak. So this is looking kind of good for us, and there are many more attacks to go. We have Yetis with bats, we have Dragon with bats. There's a lot of things with bats that are going on. And actually, it's not too weak. You guys will see in a second. So yeah, so far it's going really well for us. Let's take a look at the next couple of 2 attacks. So the next attack is going to be the Yeti bat attack. And there's something which is completely different from normal Yeti and boulder attacks, which is the siege machine. On those Yeti and bat attacks, you have 2 options most of the time, which is first the Yeti blimp, which you can do, but it's not always the best choice. And then the second one, which is the ram. I think this is one of the only strategies right now which are using the ram consistently and pretty good. And why exactly is the ram that good in the combination with these troops? So the reason why you can use bats is if you get rid of anything like jump spells, earthquakes and stuff like that. You have to get rid of those, otherwise you cannot make it with the 5 bat spells. Otherwise you don't have any spells for that. So how do you get into the base except being the master and god of warbreakers, which not too many people are? So you have a second option, obviously, which is going to be the ram. And normally the ram is getting melted into our 13 defenses, like with the ground expos, with the scatter shots and everything. But there's a kind of nice thing in the combination of this attack, which is the warden as well. Which means in the big group of Yetis and in the warden ability, the ram can make it really far normally, which is a huge support for all of the Yeti attacks. And as soon as the ram is getting opened, there are even more Yetis in there, which means it's even more power for the main push. So this is kind of a thing which is really strong, and you can see even though this base is defending really well with the traps against Yetis, because I feel like 90% of the Yetis are already dead because of spring traps, but you can see as well the splash damage setup. Even though there's still a Mutter Inferno Tower left and a Scatter Shot and a Wizard Tower, it's still not too much because you have once again the Royal Champion for the back end to get rid of splash damage. Meanwhile, the other Inferno Tower is set on single, which means it's not too big of a threat. And since he sees, okay, you have three freezes and he only will need 2 for the Mutter Inferno Tower, he's using the first freeze early. Now the freeze is ticking out, but the Inferno Tower is getting taken out by the bats, and this means this is going to be our first triple with the Yeti bats in this war. Nicely done by Mr. Peanut Butter, and this means this is going to be another triple. Nicely done, like I said, but you can see as well, it was kind of close, and you can see where the queen was going, the ram was going. It's crazy, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, I don't know, 4, 5 walls, something like that, or layers. It's crazy. The ram, if you can protect it, it's super strong, but at the same time, it's not the most used siege machine, I feel like, at the moment. But either way, let's take a look at the last attack, which is going to be a drag bat. And let's take a look at the Sui value, which he's getting in the beginning. He's starting off with 2 loons, taking out a wizard tower, and considering doing a bat attack, taking out a wizard tower with 2 loons, I take those easily. So nicely done over there. Now the queen is taking out even a second wizard tower, which means only 3 wizard towers remaining. And since this base is using 2 back end, I think there are 2 back end single Inferno towers, which means this base is having not too much splash damage left. So this is looking really good for him. What is he doing on the left side? Why is he sending in those loons one by one? The reason behind that is kind of simple. He was sending the slammer in a second over there, which means, well, he wants to have not a black mine into a slammer like ASAP. So the next thing what he's going to do, sending in the dragon from the top side with all of the loons. Nice rage, really early, and now the dragons are coming in. Nice warden ability to catch all of the dragons and the loons, which is important. And now the next rage in a second, just to make sure that everything is getting faster through everything, like through the heroes and scatter shots, etc. But one thing which I have to highlight at this point, which I do not like too much, is like the poison. Like, I feel like you do not need a poison in the drag bat attack. But yeah, either way, the bats are coming in. Not too much left anymore, which is still standing. And take a look at the next freeze. Holy Jesus! 1 air defense, a scatter shot, and an eagle. I think you cannot freeze any more stuff like, or any more value when you're going with a drag bat attack. This is crazy. And now let's take a look at the bats with the freaking dragon. Let's take a look at those. The bats are tanking for the dragon, which means the dragon is taking out the air defense. This was clutch, just to make sure that, well, all of the outside dragons are not getting melted by an inside air defense, which they cannot really reach. So nicely done by Salongsport, and this means this is going to be the last attack for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, but what we should do next is take a look at the war, right? Like, we have to take a look at the war, otherwise this might be a little bit useless without showing the result of the war. So did we make it? Did we, all of the triples which I showed, were they enough to take down the opponent? And yes, 88 to 75, like really one-sided war. Nicely done by the guys, really well done. And yeah, the guys, war win streak back to 0. It's crazy, like working 50 days for an accomplishment and then getting like back to 0 again. This is kind of harsh, but yeah, either way, I hope you guys have a lot of fun with watching the video, or had a lot of fun with watching the video. I will see you guys back tomorrow for another one, and see you guys then. Until then, and bye bye.